Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer, for allowing me the opportunity to contribute to this debate. I seek leave under Section 42(7) to read parts of my contribution.
Leave granted.
Madam Presiding Officer, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to contribute. And today I rise in contribution to this motion and have great concerns about what is being presented as progress and what we deem as a dangerous departure from principle. Also, a contradiction, Madam Presiding Officer, to recent commitments and comments made by the Chief Secretary himself. And we see this motion as well as a step backward, cloaked in the language of advancement. Madam Presiding Officer, the motion is dressed in familiar phrases of autonomy and self-government, but it lacks the very soul that has underpinned Tobago's autonomy movement for decades, which is inclusion and the will of the people. Madam Presiding Officer, this autonomy journey is not a footnote in the political playbook of the Chief Secretary and his executive. It is a struggle rooted in years of conversations and deliberations, grounded in the voices of the people and forged through the sacrifices of our former leaders. And they all believe that self-governance must be earned through the will of the people and not whispered through private deals in Port of Spain. And Madam Presiding Officer, I want to turn to one of the troubling clauses of this motion, and this is the 7th recital, which says, "And be it further resolved that the government review all previous versions of the autonomy bills with input from the THA, identify areas of consensus and refinement, and reintroduce the bills into Parliament at the shortest possible time." Madam Presiding Officer, if our memory takes us back, we were in this House last year, I think it was in October, at private members' motion when the minority leader piloted a motion in relation to autonomy and the bills before the Parliament at the time in this very House. The motion was amended by the majority. We all debated and it was approved unanimously. And that motion called for bipartisan discussions with the central government in relation to the 2 bills before the Parliament on Tobago's autonomy. And notwithstanding the approval of that motion, Madam Presiding Officer, we never entered those discussions. The Chief Secretary disregarded the will of this Honourable House and chose instead to pursue his own process, one that excluded the Assembly's mandate. And we must ask ourselves why. Was it because, and some will say, was it because the then central government was led by the People's National Movement? Was it political point scoring more important than protecting Tobago's future? Because, Madam Presiding Officer, if autonomy were truly, or if we were truly about autonomy for the people of Tobago and not about which party gets credit, then we should have sat down together, sat around the table, having those negotiations and bipartisan talk between members of the Tobago House of Assembly, members of the central government on both sides, Tobago House of Assembly on both sides, and negotiated in the interests of Tobago. But, Madam Presiding Officer, we still ask the question why we did not. Now, fast forward to today, we are being asked to support a motion that calls for talks, but this time between the Attorney General, the Chief Parliamentary Counsel, and the THA's legal team. And not because the idea is a new idea, or not because it is a good idea, but because, Madam Presiding Officer, the central government has changed. And we on this side does not deem what is being proposed as leadership. This is not leadership, rather we see it as opportunism. Madam Presiding Officer, and as the minority leader said, we do not oppose autonomy. What we oppose is hypocrisy. What we oppose is inconsistency. And we oppose a process that disrespects the people of Tobago by excluding them from the decisions that will shape our future. And even more concerning is that the motion empowers the cabinet through the AG, the Parliamentary Council, to work directly with the Chief Secretary's legal team. There is no mention in the motion about Tobago-based civil society organizations, faith-based organization, no mention about the citizens, and no reference to Tobago's diaspora. And what we are seeking to do is just a quiet handover of power to a few behind closed doors. And this is not a people-driven reform, and this, to us, looks like dictatorship. And, Madam Presiding Officer, more than that, it contradicts the Chief Secretary's own words, because the Chief Secretary, just before the bills came back, moments before the two bills came back to the Parliament floor, he had a widely broadcasted media briefing press conference, and he warned Tobago about backdoor negotiations. He also indicated that there were insufficient consultations on those bills with the people of Tobago. So, Madam Presiding Officer, if the Chief Secretary at that time was of the view that there was insufficient consultation with the people of Tobago, why today does the Chief Secretary stand to pilot a motion that does the very same thing that he denounced? Madam Presiding Officer, this motion is excluding the very people who must be the heart and soul of this process, and it concentrates decision-making in the hands of a few operating without legitimacy of a broad-based consultation. Madam Presiding Officer, the Chief Secretary indicated that sometime in 2021, he was a part of a team that sat, or part of a committee that sat to deliberate on the bills coming out of the Joint Select Committee. And he called a number of political parties and persons that were included in this committee, and he said that they sat down and they went through the bills proposed line by line, they made the amendments, and decided that they will come up with a document to send to Trinidad. But, Madam Presiding Officer, while we were in this house, a member of that same committee from another political party indicated that it was not only the PNM who did not sign that document, but it was also another political party, and they did not sign the document to go to Trinidad, Madam Presiding Officer, because the document that was being sent to Trinidad was different, a different document to what they all sat and agreed upon. So, Madam Presiding Officer, I just want to set the record straight in that regard. And the motion that is presented and the motion as presented, it was basically just dropped on the people of Tobago, dropped on members of this House with the expectation that we should be grateful for actually being spectators in our own struggle. And Madam Presiding Officer, we cannot accept this. The autonomy movement is not the personal inheritance of the Chief Secretary or any political leader or party. It belongs to the people, and any process that seeks to undermine the future of this island without their full or without the people's full and informed participation is inherently flawed and fundamentally undemocratic. And Madam Presiding Officer, the Chief Secretary in his contribution also indicated that once the bills come back to the Parliament, it means that there will be consultations, it means that people will be involved, the THA assemblymen will be involved, but Madam Presiding Officer, that was not included in the motion, and history shows that even when we agree to something here, the Chief Secretary does otherwise. And how can we guarantee consultation when the people of Tobago don't even have a guaranteed seat in the cabinet, Madam Presiding Officer? No member of Tobago currently sits in the cabinet of Tobago, of the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, that is now currently being asked to co-author legislative amendments to define our future. So what is the assurance that can be given to the people of Tobago that our voices and our aspirations will be honored? And again, we say this is not empowerment, this is delegated permission. The inclusion of authority, not the real, it's an illusion, sorry, of authority, and it's not the real thing. So now we are expected to embrace this process because it is wrapped in urgency and policy language of autonomy. And again, Madam Presiding Officer, I want to urge this House, let us step back a bit and really take a look and understand what true self-determination and autonomy means for all of us. Because if we recall as well at the last sitting that we debated this autonomy and the bills before the Parliament, most of the members on the other side who stood up to contribute to the debate had a different view of what autonomy really means. And Madam Presiding Officer, if we are really true and if we are really committed to granting greater autonomy for Tobago, we will go back to the people just as the Chief Secretary indicated in December. The Chief Secretary has not indicated in his contribution today why his position is different. What is different today when compared to December of last year? Why was it okay and why was it needed to have additional consultation, and those additional consultations are not required at this time? In the Chief Secretary's own words, he said today that the people are consultation fatigued. Why has the posture changed? And again, we are asking, is it because we did not want to collaborate, or we did not want to work with the previous central government. We did not want to give the previous central government under the People's National Movement credit for granting autonomy, because if we look at the bills that were currently before the Parliament then, we would see that it was a stark improvement to what we currently have as Act 40 of 1996. And in that regard, Madam Presiding Officer, I would like this House to consider withdrawing the motion until meaningful public consultation is conducted in communities across Tobago. I would also want to recommend that we establish a Tobago-wide committee which comprises of our citizens from civic organizations, faith groups, cultural stakeholders, the business chamber, political organizations, and legal experts to shape Tobago's negotiating mandate and to shape the future of Tobago. And I also want us to consider that we return to a people-first model where every Tobagonian has a voice and no final decision is made without their direct participation. So to accept the motion in its current form is to betray the very principles we claim to defend. Let us not be the generation that traded Tobago's rightful autonomy for political convenience. Let us not be that generation. Let us be the generation that is inclusive and works together for the advancement for the people of Tobago. And with this, Madam Presiding Officer, I want to reiterate that we oppose this motion until it includes the people. I thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.